On the home page of the Mercer Leadership Fellows 2024 Canvas course. Um, for the new academic year, Meredith will request a copy of this course. So this is exactly what you would see, but you would have to go through and do all the updating. So the course that you would get access to, I believe, would probably be Mercer Leadership Fellows 2025. And so when you get that, I'm just going to walk you through which pages, assignments, and all of that would need to be updated. So first, I'm just going to show you just what this home page looks like from the instructor side of things. Over here on the to-do list side, this is normally where I click to grade all of the ungraded assignments. These assignments here are from students that I'm waiting to resubmit, so I'm going to ignore those for right now, but I will click on them just so you can see how to grade. But before I get to that, I just want you to see what the students see. And so to do that, just click student view over there. It was in the top right corner. And so this is what it looks like from a student's perspective. If they have not submitted their if they have not submitted any assignments or the assignments that they need to submit, it's going to be right over here. You do have that general knowledge of what a Canvas course looks like, but just so you know what the Mercer Leadership Fellows one looks like, because you wouldn't be in it as a student. So these are the assignments that I've created that they will need to complete the program. So once they have submitted every single assignment in the course, then they have completed the program. And so there is a welcome page here. It just basically explains the Mercer Leadership Fellows program. If you create a new flyer for the program, you would need to update this here. And also clearly change the dates around as well. Introduce yourself. This is a discussion post, which students have been actually taking advantage of. It's not anything that I monitor or reply back to. It's just mainly a discussion thread for students to kind of see what they do on campus, what other students are doing on campus, and just kind of like mix and mingle and maybe make some friends. It is optional. I make it clear that it's optional, but it's an option if they want to do that. So about Mercer Leadership Fellows, so this is a breakdown of every single thing that it takes to complete the program, and then typically you would have the fall semester mapped out before the start of the fall semester. So you would just update with as much information as you can for the fall workshops. And so you would need to update this because at the time, clearly you can see a little bit of my errors, but just, update this as you go through. All right. Yeah, I don't think this will need too much updating besides the actual dates of the program. So this about the personal development, it will be the same thing that's on the About Mercer Leadership Fellows page. And so just update this as well. And so there are assignments that they need. Each of these modules represents each individual pillar. There is a discussion board for each pillar. I just thought same thing as the introductions discussion board. Same thing. I just wanted them to kind of just mix and mingle, share their experiential opportunities if they want to, just so when students are kind of struggling to find that, they can kind of go to this discussion board and see what other students are doing. If you want to make that more of a like requirement or anything like for workshops or anything, not even for the program, but just like workshops, you can add that if you want. But yes, right now all discussion boards are optional for students. And so this is basically what it looks like. So I'm going to exit student view, and now we're looking at it as as an instructor. So if you want to go in here and you want to edit these pages, so let's say you're going to edit the personal development, you just come over here to edit. add whatever text you want to edit, things of that nature. If you want to have a time limit of availability for students to look at, you can, and then save it, whatever changes that you make. All right, let's go back. Oh, go back again. I guess go back again. All right, cool. So if you're wanting to update the quizzes, I'm just going to show you for personal development. It will be the same for each quiz. So I just implemented complete and incomplete this semester. I think that it was a lot easier given that it's still trial and error trying to figure out how to make it where there are like correct and incorrect answers, because technically there shouldn't be correct or incorrect answers. And so like that could just be me and my lack of understanding with quizzes in that way. But just make sure that you update these. I always make sure that all of them are due on the date of the Leadership Awards, which is a week before the Mercer Leadership Fellows ceremony. And then even though it's due then, they will have until the Monday before the ceremony to submit it. So I did make that a thing, just because like there is a due date and sometimes students will like come in last minute, but the Monday before the ceremony is the absolute cutoff date because you need to have that like time to send out the RSVP and stuff like that, for the ceremony. So you would just update this accordingly here. To build out the course, you need to hit build, in order to kind of go through and update this. So you'll need to update, still edit a copy. So what workshop did you attend? This is where you put in the workshop dates. Click it and then edit here. This other option here, that is for the alternative assignments, which you will find in the shared drive. So if they could not make it to either one of these workshops, then they would still complete this quiz, but they would select this option by stating that they weren't able to attend it, but they're making up the workshop with the alternative assignments, which that will not be an option until the spring semester. So yes. So typically what I run into the issue of is that sometimes students will say, oh, I rated a 4 and not a 5. And it'll say that it's incorrect. But, they can rate it however they want. And I'm just unsure how to make it where all answers are correct. So yeah, that is something that if you want to try to figure that out, that will be wonderful and very helpful. Okay. Yeah, because I don't even know. Because editing, yeah. Anyways, done. So that is basically how you would go into, and then that will automatically save. Do remember that sometimes a student will submit a quiz, but they did not attend the workshop. So always make sure if you're grading these quizzes that you go into the workshop sign-ins and just double check, because some of them do try to cheat the system. And so for those that need to resubmit it based on the alternative assignment or whatever, just make sure that they can do multiple attempts so that they can resubmit that as needed. So you just return, and that's how you update. It's the same for all quizzes. For the experiential opportunity, just making sure that this is it. If you want to, technically they're supposed to submit a photo and a small description, but some of them don't submit photos. So just if you want to crack down on that a little bit more, you can. Just as long as there is a description, I will always just grade it anyways. But technically they are supposed to submit a photo, and that's where you edit it here, and boom. Yes, there doesn't need to be a rubric or anything like that. It will be the same thing. Once you edit those dates as well. And so that's basically how you would update the assignments. if you're trying to grade, what I always do, my easiest way, is that it will pop up over here like I was saying. So like whenever somebody needs to grade something, needs an assignment graded, what you would do is just come over here. And so like say for instance, like you see how it would say like it's incorrect or whatever, you just give them the point anyways. And then here, just check it. It's correct. It already gave it to him because it says that 5 is the correct answer. But if they chose 4, 3, any other, then you just click that to make sure it's 1. And then same here for their fill in the blanks, you'll have to manually put it as correct. And then once you add all those points up, hit update, and then it'll be 4 out of 4. But if you have a student that submits something, like say for instance this student submitted for a workshop that they did not attend, you can put a comment. So I always put a comment and I'm like, hey, saw that you submitted this, blah blah blah, but I don't see that you you know attended anything or whatever. So it'll automatically grade it for them once you hit update, and then you'll see that in the grade book, which you can access the grade book over here in the top left corner. All right, but I am not going to grade that because I'm waiting for that student to resubmit it. So I'm just going to go out of here. Oh, okay, sorry. So it'll open it up in a new tab. So just go back to the old tab for you to see it here. To grade an experiential opportunity, it's a lot easier. Hold on. All right, so this is one that I genuinely need to grade. So this student had submitted just a photo, but I never got their like reflection on their experience here. So what I did was I just left a comment and then I went down and I reassigned the assignments. So for the experiential opportunities, if they need to resubmit it, say for instance, you need them to submit the photo or you need them to submit the reflection or go in a little bit more detail or whatever the case may be. Once you submit that assignment comment, then also make sure you reassign the assignment so they can resubmit it, because otherwise they won't be able to. If they submit multiple submissions, which some of them do, they'll submit a photo in one submission and they'll submit a reflection in another. You'll just come over here to this little drop box and that's how you'll be able to switch to see their multiple different submissions. So for this student, they're good to go. You drop in a 50 and boom. Now that is graded and everything is good to go for that student. I will take a note of that so I can put it in my thing. Okay, so then that is how you would do that. And so yeah, that is how you grade the assignments. So you just go over, it's a little bit different for both, but find whichever way works best for you, and that's how I grade it for grades. So if you want to track their progress through the course solely through the course, then that can be done. But I do like to have like an extra thing in the shared drive, just so whenever Carrie needs it or Dr. Murphy or whatever the case may be, I do have that separate Excel sheet that I track data in. But with that being said, you can come over to the grade book, that is where we are now. In the beginning of the semester, in the beginning of the fall semester, I will come over and I will export the entire grade book. And then that will just give you an Excel sheet. And then over time, as I graded the Canvas course, I also track it separately in that Excel sheet that it gives me. Just so it's in 2 different spots, but you can solely do it in here if you wanted to. So say for instance, I have, what's a student that I know? I don't know, let's see. Okay, Luke Hand came in to meet with you and is asking about their progress in the course. So you come over and be like, okay, I see you haven't submitted anything for these assignments. Kind of just walk them through. This is what it takes to complete it. These are the opportunities that we'll have. These are the workshop dates, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll tell them exactly what they have submitted and what they have completed. If they have completed it and it has a check, they're good to go and you've graded it. But if they've submitted something and it hasn't been graded, it's going to have like a little piece of paper looking thing there. Let me see. It'll have this symbol. That means that they have submitted something, but it has not been graded. So you can just click on it. If you want to see individually what that is, it'll show you. Okay, it's the workshop attendance quiz. I put a comment there, and you can go to the speed grader to see it more in detail what their submission was. And yes, and that's how you would access that. I understand this is confusing sometimes. That's why I wanted to make this video. Sorry, I sound like somebody's gonna walk in here. But yes, so that is kind of like how you navigate the grade book. The only fault that I have in the Excel sheet option for having like a separate way of tracking it is that if somebody randomly joins the course, like, because every single workshop we offer them the option to join the course if they have it. If they're new to the program, they can join at any point. So that means that whenever after mostly like each workshop, I try to download the grade book each time just to compare and contrast to make sure there's still the same amount of people in the course as there is on my Excel sheet. And so I can show you where this is. So if you click Student Affairs and Campus Live, go to Leadership, and then Mercer Leadership Fellows this year. And then so here, MLF participants. And so what I did was I just downloaded. This is a great book. I mean, obviously I added my own edits. I removed several columns, did my own coloring. This student right here is a second year student but had a medical emergency and wasn't able to complete the program, so we're still giving her the opportunity. That's why she's red. I just wanted to be able to set her aside. These two students, like once I downloaded the grade book again and did my like data analysis, basically I saw that these two students over time left the course, but I still wanted to have their names and what they completed, so I didn't just delete them. But yes. And so yeah, so just make sure, like, I always check it by tens whenever I do that. Like I'll say, okay, is 10 still the same? Okay, is 20 still the same? Okay, is 30 still the same? 30 isn't, so I know between 20 and 30 there's a new person or somebody is dropped out of the course or whatever the case may be. So I try to, like, I need them to resubmit, just have like that second way of tracking. Last year was a lot more complicated and chaotic in my tracking method, so this year I tried to make it more simple. Just if they completed the pillar, it's a different color for each pillar. So yellow if they completed that's civic engagement. Then green if they completed professionalism. I always have a legend. It's right over here. And so, like, yeah, that's how my color key is. I just do X if I've graded it. And so yeah, and so yeah, there's nothing there. But that's basically how I track that. If you wanted to just know a little bit more about, that's what it'll show you. It will be more chaotic. It's definitely more chaotic. I'll download it here just so you can see what I mean. Hold on. Okay. So this is what it looks like when you download the gradebook. It's really chaotic. I delete this column. You want to keep their MUIDs. You want to keep their name. Technically, you don't need to know what course it's in because you just downloaded it from Mercer Leadership Fellows. And beyond this column, I delete it. None of that matters. Honestly, I don't even know what it's talking about. This is the only part that matters. I changed all of those 50s to X's. So I just did F, and so find and replace, find what? 50, replace it with an X. And so that's how I do it. How do you know if they have completed the program? They'll have 400 points over here. So if you just need like to quickly know how many students have completed the program, just go over here, add a filter to that column, and then select all, deselect all, select 400, and these are all the students that have completed the program. If they're at 400 points in the course, they've completed the program. If you want to know if they've completed just one thing, then these are all the students that have completed one thing in the Canvas course. And so it just kind of, simplifies the mess if you do that. And so this is how I turn that mess into something that's more understandable. It'll have like all this. I delete those numbers. Those numbers don't matter. Yeah, I delete all of it. I just keep experiential opportunity. That's just kind of like how I will do my own edits. You can change it and, modify my methods as you want. But that's just how I do it. I don't need that. Okay. And so like I do that periodically just so I can keep track of who's added or left the course. But yeah, that's a little bit of my breakdown for the course. Maybe if you need to know, like right now, I was trying to send something out to the students that I left a comment on their assignments. So something that isn't graded. Like I wanted to create this filter so that like I know that there are people that have submitted stuff, but it hasn't been graded by me. Because you're going to be the only person grading it. So, And so I wanted to send an email to the students that haven't yet resubmitted or responded to my comment. So that's what I did, and that's how it made it easy for me to figure out which students those were. I just added that filter. You can go in here and unselect it, and it'll go back to the regular thing. And I think that is about it. Oh, actually, announcements. This is the last thing that I do. I post announcements regularly. When I was out, for surgery and everything, Meredith did put in an announcement, but otherwise it's gonna be you. Hey, there's gonna be a study hall. The study hall is an event that we have just for them to submit their assignments. Do reminders, do experiential opportunity reminders, do workshop reminders, like any updates you need to send, because if they have it where it'll send them emails or text messages or whatever, like it's more efficient to just do a Canvas announcement. For like big emails, like if I'm sending out like an update of like their progress in the course and I'm sending that mail merge, then I will send that email, or like a reminder, general reminders throughout the semester I'll do through email. But like for each workshop, for each experiential opportunity, most of the time I will put in a reminder here. And so you just add a reminder, do the topic, and type in your thing, add a flyer if you need to add a flyer, and boom. And then I just hit publish. I don't ever change any of this, but if you're, good for wanting to schedule out an announcement, then you can always schedule it. And so yeah, announcements are the last thing that I do. And so this is kind of what it looks like for a student. You understand this core, you understand how Canva works. And so like this is my most recent Canvas announcement, letting them know about our workshop this week, letting them know about our study hall next week. And that's just kind of like what I do. I always highlight the name, the date, and location. I always make that a different color. So yes. I think this covers like majority of everything of how to navigate the course and update it and everything as an instructor. So, yeah.